Okay, hi folks. So I've got a big bow hunt coming up next week, which I need to start preparing for. So part of what we're going to do today is I'm going to fletch some arrows, build some arrows, but we've had a couple of questions from guys around what I do or what I use. So I just thought I'd show you all. This isn't going to be a tutorial, it's more just to give you some more information on what I do. So let's start. So I use the carbon core arrows. These are quite a thin diameter arrow compared to, say, my target arrows. Reason I do that is because I want quite a lightweight arrow so that I can put most of the weight into the front of the point, which gives me what's called FOC, so it's forward of center. And that basically just means when you put the arrow on a balanced point, more of the weight sits in the front. So when it's flying through the air, you want the point pulling. So I don't go crazy FOC. I'm running about 22% on this, which basically means it's sitting at a 22% balance point. This is obviously the arrow without the tip on front. But yeah, that's basically the setup that I'm running. For this hunt, I'm going to be running a 275 grain up front. And the way I do that is I use a 100 grain insert. So this basically just glues into the front of the arrow. So there's one in this already. And then I'll use a broadhead, which is 175. So for practice, I've got 175 grain tips, just normal field points, those which I practice with. So when I'm ready to go and shoot in the field, I just throw on the broadhead, it's ready to go. What I also like doing is using lighted nocks. So one of the reasons why I do that is it just gives me a good sort of view when we're filming. Obviously when you see the arrow flying, you see the green dot. Right now what I want to do is just start fletching an arrow. I've already partially started this one, so you can see there's 3 fletchings on it at the moment. I use a 4 fletch, but basically the way this works is the arrow just clips into here. You use a jig which has got a magnet, holds the fletch, and it goes on. I'll show you a bit more about that when I start. You get 2 different types of fletching jigs. So this is a right helical, and basically what that means is my arrows, my fletchings that I use, if you can see, they're curving to the left, which means when I put this on, I'm going to get more of a curve on it. So I don't particularly like using this I use for my 3 fletch setups. For 4 fletch I just use a straight and I offset it. So on this existing fletching, you might be able to see it sits further right than it does on the front. So you can see the curve of the arrow. That's what basically gives the spin. The more spin you have, to a degree, the more spin you have, the more stability you have in the arrow. So obviously you want the arrow spinning to keep it straight. I personally use fletching tape. It's just easier, it's quicker, I like the way it works. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I'll show you how that works. It's just essentially clear double-sided tape, very thin double-sided tape, but that's all there is to it. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is I'm going to be putting on the last feather on this guy. I wanted to just talk about the insert. What I do for these inserts is they basically just glue in. So I use just a quick 2-part epoxy. So you just mix equal parts of that, put it on and leave it to set. I then leave it overnight just to cure properly. I like using acetone to just clean everything up, and you can see I was wiping this, cleaning this arrow down. That's the reason why you want to do that. There's always a bit of carbon fiber dust or grease and other bits and pieces. How this guy works, let me just clamp it on first, is just mount it onto the desk. The arrow clips in on this knock-in point here, as you can see. That then clips onto there, which is holding the fletching in the perfect position. That's as simple as it is. you'll see there's different markings on here as to where you want the feather to sit on the shaft. So when I fletch, I like to put the arrows, the fletchings at a point where at full draw, just the tip of this feather will touch my nose, just so that I know I'm at full draw, just that I'm not half drawing it. And for me, that's basically on this first big notch there. So that's how the feather sits in this jig, right? When it clips onto the magnet, as you'll see there, it's going to be sitting on the shaft, which if you were using glue, you would obviously just hold it onto that shaft for a couple of seconds, a minute, just until it's all set. For the tape, it's obviously a little bit easier. So let's fletch this up so you can see what it looks like. This is basically what the tape looks like. It's just a little clear double-sided tape. There's a pink strip on the back or red strip on the back. So you just run it down the length of the feather and then use a sharp blade just to trim it. Make sure that's on. Peel off the red tape. Now you're not going to be able to see that because, like I said, it is clear, but there is tape on that. Clip it onto the magnet, hold it into place, and there it is. I just run my fingernail down there just to make sure that that goes on properly, and that's it. There's the fletchings. So like I said, I use a 4 fletch. I've just found that works for me. I don't know whether it is better or not, I'm not too sure. I've had good luck with it, so I just stick to what I know. And then I'm going to be using a 2-blade cut-on contact broadhead, which obviously just screws directly into there. And like I said, I've got 275 grains up front. That's pretty much it, guys. It's as simple as that. If you do have any other questions, or if you want me to elaborate on any of the things I've spoken about in this video, just pop a comment in the comment section, and maybe we'll do another video. Cheers for now.